Cool.
And I am excited.
Right back at you. Takes one to know one, Vivian. Thank you for being here, all you amazing and fine folks. And let's drop right in with these incredible people, Vivian.
Oh my God, we have the man of many titles, AKA Larry Bridgesmith from Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes. Hello. Hope you all are well.
He's a passionate thought leader and noted speaker on artificial intelligence. He's a fan of emerging tech like blockchain, smart contracts, and cryptocurrency. Not that I know what all of that means, but for the past 30 years, Larry is a lawyer covering all sorts of law, from employment trial to mediator, and has been a trainer in conflict resolution. In fact, he's on the chair Tennessee Supreme Court Alternative Dispute Resolution Commission, and he's a professor of law at Vanderbilt Law, CEO and founder at Legal Alignment, and co-founder of Accelerate Insights. So welcome, Larry.
Thank you very much. Delighted to be here.
Larry, you teach at Vanderbilt?
I do, at the law school, yes.
That's extraordinary. I went to Columbia as an undergrad. My first college baseball game was against Vanderbilt.
Great baseball team.
Incredible baseball team. In fact, Justin Henry Malloy is somebody who's playing for Vanderbilt currently, and he was on my son's club baseball team, and he traveled around the country with us on our club team. So
how exciting is that? Yeah.
And Larry, I'll share this quick fun fact. So in my first collegiate baseball game, I batted leadoff. I started as a freshman at Columbia. I was captain my senior year, and we're playing Vanderbilt, and they had a left-handed pitcher. I was a left-handed batter, and I was all excited. Our right fielder at the time, his father was the manager of the New York Yankees. Greg Torborg, Jeff Torborg was the manager. So my first at bat, I'm ready to go. I'm excited. I'm like, the manager of the Yankees is watching. Here's this my big moment. I took 3 straight fastballs down the middle, sat down and struck out. So that is my initial greeting to Vanderbilt and collegiate baseball. So thank you.
And you remembered that moment well and warmly, I can tell.
I do. So thank you for everything that you're doing in the world. And how about a fun fact?
Well, we were talking earlier about the British Virgin Islands before you joined us. And I've told many people that if I disappear and you really, really want to find me, you better start looking on the back of sailboats, or the stern, we should say, in the British Virgin Islands, because that's where I will be.
Amazing. So Larry, I don't know the context. I missed, the green room time that you guys had. So what was the context of the BVI conversation?
Well, if you look out Henry's window, you see a Scottish flag, and he's not in Scotland, but it's one of the places where my ancestry comes from, and they were sailors. And somewhere in my genetic code comes a passion for sailing. So the British Virgin Islands is a great place for a neophyte sailor, because it's like a big bathtub. You don't have to worry about the big water. So that's where I can learn to do sailing better.
Well, Larry, there's all sorts of interesting intersections. This is not normally how the Real Raw starts, but I can't help myself to share these odd coincidences. I was just in the BVI a month ago.
And you lucky bum.
Yeah, I had the privilege of being on Sir Richard Branson's Necker Island. But the more interesting fun fact is that we had just Monday night on What is Unblinded, Why Real Raw, we had Brittany Turner on. Brittany Turner was 17 years old, and she was living in her car, and she decided that she wanted to become a person of immense impact in the world. She's now 32, and she just bought Buck Island, not Buck Island in the USVI, but in the BVI, which is right near Larry Page from Google's Island and Richard Branson's Island. At 32 years old, she became a real estate mogul, starting from nothing between 17 and 32. Now owns an island where she wants to change the world. So Larry, let's make a date and hang out one day on Brittany's Island on Buck and talk about sailing. Is that a fair deal?
Well, I've absolutely, I've sailed by Buck Island. I've sailed by Necker Island. I have never landed on either, but now is the opportunity. You know the people who live there.
Yeah, and all kidding aside, this is bizarre. She was on 2 nights ago with us in the entire Unblinded ecosystem for 2 hours talking about the island. So this is like, what an incredible cross pollination of things. So thank you for being
I love that. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Vivian, this is fun. Who else we got?
Yes, we have Joe Dune from Bedminster, New Jersey, or Belmar?
Bedminster.
Where?
Bedminster.
Bedminster. He is the holistic magazine disruptor. Yep, way back when holistic talk was not even in vogue, Jock thought it was a great and splendid idea to talk about good energy, leaving a positive impact and honoring the planet. So he decided to become owner publisher of Natural Awakenings, a monthly holistic magazine that today, nearly 3 decades later, is in publication in 3 counties in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, with a distribution of nearly 63,000. You can pick up a free copy at Whole Foods and other wellness locations. So welcome, Joe.
Joe,
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here, and thank you for the great work you do in the world. You know, the dynamic of alternative perspectives on health as a paradigm is very present in the truth seeking of Unblinded. Unblinded is about like truth seeking, right? So when you think holistic, Joe, what does that mean to you, and what's your mission in the world?
So first, before I answer that, I just have to clear up a few facts. I did not start the company 27 years ago. A woman by the name of Sharon Brockman did. But I bought the franchise, the first franchise 9 years ago. And, just a funny thing about it was I was totally broke. I had no money, zero. And I had a 9-year-old at the time. Now he's 18. But, I was like, the stars lined up. Jesus, Buddha, the spirits, everybody got together, and I got gifted this thing out of nowhere. And it was almost like that spiritual connection that, that I've been waiting my whole life for, because I had been a fan. So anyway, that's the back end of I don't want to take credit for starting the company, but I am also the COO of the company now nationally. So I run both that. And to answer your question, it's really about taking care of yourself. Everything is so intertwined, it took me years and years and years to understand that, there's so much more to looking at the human spirit and the human body and the mind and how it all ties in together. And, we've just partnered with a company that is on the verge of changing the course of the way we take care of our health. So, it's really important to me. It's a mission of life, and love what I do.
Yeah. Well, Joe, thank you. Appreciate that enormously. My family has been rooted in holistic healthcare in many ways for a long time. I'm blind. I don't know if people are aware of that. I have retinitis pigmentosa. My grandfather was blind. And because of that, and they had no money, I was the first person in my family to go to college, direct family line. But my family became very holistically oriented in their search for solutions with my grandfather's, slow degeneration into blindness. And so thank you for the work you're doing in the world, and that search for a healthier alternative to some of the complexities that we face, and appreciate you being here today, Joe.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here.
Thank you. And how about a fun fact before we move on?
I was thinking about that. There's a lot I can't share that are fun facts, but
no. We like can't shares.
Bring it.
No. You guys have got great energy and look a little bit out there in a lot of ways, but you're not ready for some of my stuff.
Wait, have you seen Gina yet? And her red pumps and Catholic school, her hiked up skirt, her black leather jacket from back in the day. And don't even ask her, Joe. Don't even ask her about what's going on with Bruce Springsteen at their beach club. But back to you, Joe.
So Sean, you missed Vivian fixing her bra at the beginning, by the way.
That's exactly true. I was giving free shakes up here.
So Vivian, when she came on and was adjusting her bra strap and everything, I thought I was in my old life, where I can't share those fun facts. But bringing up to date, I'll tell you what, a couple of my badges of honor for my life are, and that is that I have a 52-year-old, a 51-year-old daughter who has changed the world in so many ways in the world of domestic violence. I have a 26-year-old that I'm really proud of, and I have an 18-year-old. So I have kids spread over, quite a variety, and through that, there's a learning curve from dysfunction to, holistic. And so I'm really proud of that fact. It's kind of a fun fact because people go, you've got kids, oh my. And so I like that. And the other thing is that I have more energy than most people my age, or most people 35. So, I'm going to be 77 in 20 days. And, I am up at 5 and worked and go to 1 because I just got that kind of energy. And that's kind of like my self-induced fun fact.
Thank you, Joe. And we want you to join us on Unblinded After Dark and share some more of your facts.
You know what, Sean? I have
sure.
We're in trouble now.
I can't wait.
Sean, I did, we were in such such a good skating mode here and going into debauchery, and you just took the thunder out of it all. Why? All right, so let me share mine then. I was on Hogs and Heifers, and I did leave my bra as I danced on the bar table with all the gals from Catwalk when our boss took us out for an after dark excursion into the city in a limousine, which was probably one of the highlights of bartending at Catwalk near the Empire State Building back in the day.
Amazing. Who was also on the Howard Stern show and asked under a lie detector, she had a crush on Howard Stern, but more on that later. So Vivian, we got some awesome judges to go, Larry and Joe.
Yes, we do. Well, building on holistic healing, we have Ruth Karmazon in the house from Hackettstown.
The one and only.
She is the owner of Karma Bridge Acupuncture and Herbals, a family practice now for over 20 years. Having overcome a mystery health crisis as a child that ailed her with migraines, psoriasis, extreme fatigue, and dysplasic cells on her cervix, she tried everything and landed her answers in ancient medicine for solutions. And this defined her path. Today, she's a wellness expert, speaker, and podcast host of Circle of Messengers. Here, she shares her practical uses of ancient medicine and offers modern tips to help you break the cycle of disruptive health patterns to help you lead your optimal and vibrant life. So welcome, Ruth.
Ruth, how are you?
Man, I'm taking you with me everywhere.
All right. So Ruth, thank you for being here. And I believe you introduced Joe. Am I correct or not correct?
Yes, Joe.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. And how about a fun fact about your amazingness? And then I have a very important question. And I'm going to give you a hint. I started watching Cobra Kai. So I have a question about that. But please, Ruth.
Uh-oh. Must be Tai Chi related. I have a couple of fun facts. One is, I'll pick up on Vivian's. I too was in Hogs and Heifers. I did not leave my bra. Actually, I used to live around the corner from there. So anyway, if that's fun enough. Otherwise, I've got more. The one I was going to share is I have a photograph of me with a woodpecker on my shoulder, which is way more my speed. My boyfriend keeps saying, you have these interesting relationships with wild animals. How do you do that? So, yep.
Well, we love it. We love you, Ruth. And here's my question. Have you ever seen The Karate Kid?
Absolutely.
Okay. So you know when Mr. Miyagi goes like this and like rubs his hands together and fixes Daniel?
Yes.
Yes. Can you do that for me?
Absolutely.
All right. No, thank you, Ruth. And
I could do a lot more too, Sean. Let me add that back.
All right.
Let's go.
So thank you for that, Ruth. You're amazing. So Vivian, we got Ruth and some other judges. What's happening?
We have Dr. Ariel Ostad. I got it right, baby. Founder of his own boutique dermatology practice. He's a leading expert in facial reconstruction and skin cancer surgery, uniquely talented in performing Mohs micrographic surgery, which helps in removing only cancerous cells versus the healthy cells on someone's face and thereby leaving less scars. He shares his expertise not only as an associate editor for the Journal of Drugs and Dermatology, but he's an associate clinical professor at NYU School of Medicine, and he trains at Harvard and UCLA.
H-bomb has been dropped in the house. The H-bomb is present.
So of course, it's no surprise that he's also the co-author a textbook, The Practical Management of Skin Cancer. So welcome, Dr. Ariel Ostad.
Oh, thank you so much for that amazing introduction. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here in the house with all these beautiful people. So nice to see you, Sean. And just so glad to be here. It's so much fun. I'm glad to be taking some time off in the afternoon from seeing patients and do this.
Well, thank you for being
more
here.
often.
Yeah, thank you. And doctor, I have a question.
Sure.
So when I was playing at Columbia, and we would play against Harvard, do you know what they used to chant at us?
Tell me. Tell me what they did.
Safety school. Safety school.
Oh my God.
How did that make you feel, Doc?
That is not good. I'm sorry you had to hear that. Probably a bunch of insecurity. Who knows?
So no, I think the Ivy League, and I'm not sure if Vanderbilt has this dynamic because it's such an incredible institution as well. But in the Ivy League, they would literally, like, our fans would chant, like we played Cornell, they would chant safety school. So it's one of the most bizarre things in the world that on an athletic field, they would chant things about academics. I do not think that's anywhere in the space of college sports other than, in the Ivies. Very bizarre. So Doc, how about a fun fact today, please?
A fun fact that I would share with you is that ever since, unfortunately, COVID, my practice has even been busier. And when I ask the patients who walk in here, what's bringing you here? A lot of people say, oh, I'm on Zoom call and I see myself every day. And I want to look better. I see things that that I don't like. So I feel like my practice is busier, unfortunately, due to just being on Zoom calls and just seeing ourselves.
Well, congratulations. I'm glad that positive dynamic's occurring. And, some folks speak into the fact that when winter comes, and winter is here, not just winter in the seasons, but the winter of COVID and the challenges that occur, that there's always incredible dynamics that happen for people in acceleration. So I'm happy that you are not only doing well, but flourishing. And that's it.
And then the other thing I would say is during this, the other challenging thing that I've known for years, but it's become even more clear, is how, not so much of a fun fact, but how our emotions and our skin is so tied. And I think I've seen so much in addition in terms of skin issues with regards to just our emotions.
Well, I'm present to your heart and your great work in the world, and I'm very grateful that you're here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Sean, do you ever stare at yourself in the mirror?
Since I'm blind, that probably doesn't happen. Why would you be sharing that?
Well, he says, that people have been staring themselves in the mirror, and I just wanted to know what the experience was for you. When was the last time you stared at yourself in the mirror and said, I am a handsome man?
Well, thank you. The last time I looked at myself, the last time I could see myself in a mirror, was probably about 6 years ago. It was like right around that time. I stopped driving about 8 years ago. I probably should have stopped driving 10 to 12. But about 6 years ago was the end of the mirror. Yes. Well, Vivian, though, my understanding is amongst many incredible, beautiful people here, that you are certainly an amazingly beautiful human being inside now. So thank you for that, Vivian.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yes.
Look how you turned that. That's not right.
Yes. So final judgment today.
We have Henry Reinder from Fairfield, New Jersey. Woo! Feeling it. He's wearing a hot pink shirt, actually, in clarification of color and our eyes not being able to absorb that. He is the forensics accountant. Mm-hmm. Henry has 30 years of experience in finance. He's a tax consultant, a business solutions man, and he's also a CPA at Smolin Advisory and serves on the executive committee. Because he can, he took his genius to the courtroom as a forensics accountant, and Henry is sought after as a financial forensics fraud examiner in business valuations. Welcome, Henry.
Henry. What's up,
Vivian and Sean? First of all, Vivian, I'm hiring you today. You need to be on my team and introduce me every time.
Yes, that is
this is so good.
Amazing, right?
And I'm delighted to be among you and seeing Sean again and engaging with all of you. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Henry. Henry, do you remember my question from the last time? Because we're gonna re-examine this.
So
Harry's here. Yeah.
You know what? You had several questions, but there were several times. So Sean, let's go back to the first time I met you, because my fun fact has to do with your impression on me. So Sean is on the stage and makes a presentation, and my walk away thought from this presentation is you have to engage everything in your life with love. Mm. So ever since then, Sean, I don't know how many people come to you and say, well, this is how you touched me.
Thank you.
And I am here to tell you, this is how you touched me.
Wow. Thank you.
And a fun fact about that was that, we were sitting with my family, Zooming in. One of my kids was here in Florida, and we're talking about New Year's resolution. Mm. So here's my New Year's resolution.
Yes, sir.
Every time I'm going to see a homeless person asking for help, I will stop, recognize them as a human being, and try to help them.
That's a beautiful resolution, Henry. That is awesome, sir.
God, I love you, Henry. That's so sweet.
That is so beautiful. Awesome, brother. Thank you for that.
I did it once so far, and only once I've seen somebody on the corner and I was able to do it. But I'm looking forward to doing it more.
No, that is awesome. That is awesome. And thank you for being here today, Henry. I will drop in a little bit later on my fun forensics question, just seeding that a little bit for those watching out there and including Larry for sure. This entire program is based upon the idea that influence is a superpower. I graduated from law school after having my baseball career ended after Columbia, having hoped to go on to play professionally and being told I was going to get drafted, but my vision caused that not to occur as it was slowly decline or beginning to decline, just the beginning. And so I ended up going to law school, and I realized when I was in what I thought was my dream job, that the folks that had freedom in a very different way and a very different level were those that understood how to influence and go from hello to yes. And I thought marketing and sales were dirty, horrible, and awful. And I realized the people at the law firm that were making the decisions were the people who created business. And I had no optics, no concept of that was how it worked. So I quit my job, opened my own law firm, started my credit card to see if in fact that a 6-month out of law school attorney could build their own law firm. I had the unique privilege of building a 40-person law firm and exiting it 4 years later. I currently own a 125-person law firm, in addition to having the privilege of running this Real Raw, speaking on stages around the world, including Tony Robbins' stage. And where I was going with my question for Henry, which we'll deal with later, I also had the privilege of representing folks in incredibly painful and difficult business cases, and had 2 back-to-back top 100 national jury verdicts in 2014 and 16. And the second one, we made national law in the economic damage area in the Ninth Circuit, because the question became whether or not fair value equaled compensatory damages. That's snooze city for most of you, but it was an incredibly compelling and complex question. We'll talk a little bit with Henry and maybe Larry's thoughts on it later, but that was not something that was present. We had all sorts of federalism issues and craziness even to get to trial. It ended up in a 1-month trial in federal court and appeals on the economic damage issue. We'll lean into that later, but the point that's relevant for everybody about that is everything in a courtroom with a judge at trial, appellate division, speaking on stage and raising money to save people from sex trafficking, to every single dynamic of your ideas, your thoughts in leadership, the creation of a nation, the end of a nation, creation of a business and its end, all are dynamics of hello to yes in leadership. There's other things involved, but everything begins after yes. How we get there, integriously and heart-centeredly, is what the Real Raw is all about. Vivian, you are truly a demonstration of emotional and energetic transference, which is what is at cause over how things happen in the world. And you're a special magical gift. Thank you so much, Vivian, for what you do.
I love you, Sean, and I love your heart, which is what Henry pointed out. And I think that's why we're all here, because you open up my listening through the heart that you bring to the table every day. And all the magnificent things that you do and how you pave the way for all of us. And as you were talking, I was wondering if you had any footage of your courtroom cases and you in action. Like, I would love to see that.
Well, it's funny you ask, and I want to keep in time integrity. One of my favorite videos is from that federal case in Arizona, which we do have. And we could actually, I'm going to use that in the Unblinded world at some point soon, because we had an expert that said there was no medical fraud that occurred in this case, because there was all kinds of Medicaid issues. The Inspector General of the state of Arizona testified in the trial and had to cross-examine him, and lobbyists were corrupt, all kinds of insanity. And this expert, it was one of the things that I think is one of the greatest demonstrations of integrous influence, meaning non-integrous influence. This expert, by lunch, in a case that ended up in a $27 million jury verdict, withdrew her opinion and left the case, put it back in, and withdrew it again, like fully withdrew it. Didn't say she was wrong about something. She withdrew her entire report. And that's what influence could do. And we have that on video. The lawyers are flipping out. She's going crazy. It's unbelievably dramatic. It's on, audio, video, the whole thing. So we'll play that for you at some point. Vivian.
Oh, that's riveting.
So let's let's introduce our role player for today before you.
Oh my goodness, we have Gina Ritchie in the house. Gina is the Real Raw Open Coordinator, if any of you didn't know, here at Unblinded. And she's on a mission to help others accelerate leadership in the world. Gina is currently authoring her first book about her personal journey in finding courage to live in love after extreme pain of losing her 3.5-year-old daughter to a rare form of leukemia. As a speaker and coach, she believes that influence and love are superpowers and the greatest motivator to achieving more joy and abundance. So welcome, Gina.
Thank you, Vivian. Oh my gosh, you're amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Gina, your heart, your journey are present, as is your fun and crazy energy. We're not going to lead into like what happened with Bruce Springsteen and you. That's a story for a different day, but we will ask you for a fun fact.
Well, you gave like a whole bunch of them away already, but you know, because you ladies were talking about dancing on bars in college when I was down in DC. I had some bar dancing happening, and one fine night I just happened to slip and broke a rib, and I couldn't breathe for like a month. I'm just saying, I still feel that rib. When I was pregnant with my kids, I still felt that rib.
I am going to have to ask our esteemed law professor from Vanderbilt what he thinks of the liability of the bar for Gina jumping up on the bar and slipping and breaking her rib. Larry?
Well, of course, they're going to argue assumption of risk, but I would instead suggest that it was a nuisance attraction that probably got her up on the bar. So that liability rests with the dram shop.
Thank you. Outstanding. Outstanding. So thank you, Vivian. Again, have a beautiful day. Love you. See you tomorrow.
Have fun.
Thank you. So yes, Gina, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So I think since it's like there's a hometown dynamic, since Joe is from New Jersey, what do you say that we have Joe go first today?
Good. I'm ready for you, Joe.
All right. So Joe, here's how we play the game, right? And this is not Boiler Room meets Wolf of Wall Street. We don't need a sale. This is hello to yes with integrity. The yes could be just for a longer conversation and meeting. This is not about speed. It's about depth of connection, putting something at stake and getting to a relevant yes. Gina could be herself. She could be any client avatar or contribution fundraising avatar, any avatar you would like her to be, or she could be a specific famous person that you might know. And the idea is, what's a relevant yes for you in the world, Joe, and then Larry? And that hello to yes dynamic is going to be assessed by the judges as we unlock the superpower of influence. Because it's not about whether you're good at influence or not. It's about once you're great and rising your mastery, the exponential things that it unlocks for the likes of Bruce Springsteen or Oprah Winfrey or Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. It's the unlocking of the superpower of influence that causes dynamic change in the solving of big problems in the world. And that's the space we're playing in here. So Joe, thank you again for your courage, vulnerability, and being here today, your beautiful energy. Who would you like Gina to be?
Sir Richard Branson.
Boom. That is some certainty.
Wow.
That brother, Gina, you ready to be Sir Richard?
I absolutely.
All right. So you're going to have 6 minutes. It's 1 6-minute conversation, but it's going to get interrupted about halfway through. So Richard's going to take a phone call and bounce back. You don't have to worry about resetting a separate appointment, but we're going to cut it and assess. Judges, this first round, you're looking for depth of connection, heart to heartness, as opposed to head to headness. Heart to heart doesn't have to mean sappy, but it's just real connection that's present in this first round. A little something being put at stake. The second round is where we get to a yes. Joe, you have 3 minutes, my friend of the 6. Please take us in.
So no setting, just.
Okay, so we can set it. So you said it, Joe. So you want this to be like you're on Necker Island on a set trip? Do you want to have bumped into Sir Richard, a cold call, whatever the setting you prefer?
Okay. So, Richard, I want to thank you for taking my phone call today. I'm so, privileged that you answered my emails. I'm a little shocked, to tell you the truth. So I'd like to call you Richard, and I'll tell you why, because I have watched you over the years, and you are just like one of the most authentic people I have ever met in my life. And it almost feels like we have a connection, or I have a connection with Angie. From watching you throw water on Mark Cuban on Shark Tank to sitting on top of a hot air balloon on the TV show that you did, you've always just inspired me with your just being an authentic person. So I thought of you the moment I really thought about our magazine. And what I really want to talk to you about today, or at least present to you, is that I would like to tell you a little bit about our magazine and why I'm reaching out to you. So we're a magazine that's about holistic health and healing the planet. We always are about the solution, and we're about seeing the good in the world rather than looking at what's bad in the world. And I know that you're aligned in that, and I know because I watched you promote your daughter's book on TV. And her book was about social conscious companies. So we fit perfectly into that realm, Richard. And what I mean by that is that we're a company that used to be a bunch of tree huggers. And that's all we did. And we never looked at a bottom line, but we were out for the benefit of society and the benefit of people. And I just happen to know you're aligned with that. So over the years, we have gone on and been somebody, and we've spread the word, and we've done a good job. We've got over 3 million readers of our magazine across the United States. But here's where you fall in for me. We really need help. As society has gone on and technology has gone and got ahead of us, we have fallen behind because we were in a wrong mission. So we're paying attention now to our bottom line, but we need help financially. And I just thought that you were the most perfect person to align with us, if that's could be in your play. The mission alignment between some of the work that you've done in the world and some of our new partners to change the world that we live in today when it comes to personal health care. Now, I know I went on for a couple of minutes and didn't give you an answer to chance, but to talk, but it's very rare that you get to speak to Richard Branson. So I want to make sure that I use up every minute I got to try and get you my message. So I'd like to be quiet now for just a second and get your feedback.
Well, thank you, first of all, for, once in a blue moon, an email slips into my lap. And so I appreciate everything you've said. Thank you for all of the acknowledgement that you've given, and for seeing me for, what is important to me in the world. We do sound like it's aligned, and sure, I could
So
hear
Richard,
a little bit more about it.
Grab a
Yes.
quick call. You can bounce right back in a minute. Sound good?
Yep. Sounds good. Yep.
Thank
Got to
you.
grab a
Thank you,
quick
sir.
call.
Thank you, Sir Richard. Yes.
Thanks.
Okay. So Joe, how did that feel for you?
Me?
Yes. That first round, how did that feel?
Yeah, it felt okay. The only thing is that, I didn't have any interaction usually, because I needed to pitch right away for that. Usually I would allow somebody else to talk a lot, but being on this call, I figured I had to use it up. That's the only thing that, bothered me from my, my normal psyche. But I felt like I did a good job.
Awesome. Excellent. We'll hear from the judge in a little bit, have some thoughts in a few moments. Larry, are you ready to go, sir?
I am, yes.
Yes. Who would you like Gina to be?
Well, I've just met Gina, and she seems like a fascinating lady. I would love Gina to be Gina.
That's beautiful, Larry. Sir,
I can do that.
Please, just Larry, just footnote, be careful if you enter the space of like Bruce Springsteen conversation. No.
I will not mention his name.
Please
I know I would lose that one.
Please take it, Larry.
Hi, Gina. I appreciate getting to know you here. We've got about 6 minutes before our plane needs to board, and I noticed that, I'm not trying to spy, but I noticed that you're an aspiring author. Can you tell me about that?
Sure. Well, thank you. Thanks for asking. I am I'm writing my first book about my personal journey after losing a child when she was 3.5 years old. It was a very long, long road, and there was a lot of things along the way that were impactful. And then I felt I always wanted to write about it, and I finally, 21 years later, realized I could do so, and found the right people and the right resources to empower me to do so.
Well, first, I can't even begin to understand what it would be like to lose a child. I have two, but to lose a child, especially at that age, it would take far longer than 21 years for me to recover. So congratulations to get to a place where you can share with others. What is it that you want to share with others?
Well, thank you for that. And yes, that, there's no recovery. It's just learning how to live with that, right? It's just learning what to do with it and how to find meaning in it. And what I wanted to share with others is how I found meaning through the grief, how I've had the courage to go on every day, and to help others through their journeys was one way that I did it. And it just, I kept finding things that allowed me to awaken and become more aware of myself and mastering my emotions throughout, that I felt, wow, people would say, you need to write a book, you need to write a book. What you're doing is, important. And I found spiritual help and holistic help, and that all energy work, those things, it helped me immensely. So I wanted to share that with others, if that would help, them on their path.
Well, I think you've spoken to a human condition that all of us, in one way or another, encounters maybe more than once in our lifetimes. And I promise I'll buy you the book. I'll buy the book. I promise that. But I would like to know what some of those suggestions are that you would share with other people.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you for asking. I had to learn how to change my state. I had to learn how to find gratitude in the grief, because staying in the grief kept me in the grief, right? It was perpetuating more grief, more pain. My marriage over time became very difficult. I was choosing a spiritual path. My former husband chose a different, more toxic path, and the spiritual path was what was empowering me to get through. And I wanted to share that more, changing my state, finding gratitude, meditation, gratitude, and looking in the mirror and saying, I have to do something different. But you know what? Thank you for asking all about that. It's like, it has been a long road, and definitely looking in the mirror and taking accountability for my behavior, my emotions, is what made the biggest impact. And I like to elaborate on that. Yet I do have to take another call, Larry. So if it's okay, I'll get back to you.
I'd love to continue the conversation. Thank you.
Larry, your energetic presence, like the receiving, how you receive communication, like the depth of your presence and listening is powerful. And what a voice you have, my friend. So excellent job, sir.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Gina, how did that feel for you? Round one with Joe and Larry.
Incredible. I have to say thank you, Larry. My heart is bursting. Thank you for asking. And yes, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel grateful.
Yeah, Gina, your courage and vulnerability continuously astounds. And we can easily lose perspective and sight on many things, but your journey stands as an inspiration. So thank you.
Thank you.
It's infectious.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Get back to fun.
No. That's okay. No. We could sit right there in truth, right? We could be in truth. So thank you for that offer. But we're here to love, support, and serve. So you're here a lot, Gina, and we don't enter that space often. And if we did, it's absolutely fine. But we're here to love and support you too.
And it's real. So thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Yeah, thank you. Ruth, maybe let's start, right there with Larry and the assessment of that. And thank you again for being here, Ruth.
Thank you, Sean. So Gina, you brought me to tears. And Larry, the fact that you could be so real and so deep in under 3 minutes. And you said very few words, but I think you brought all of us to a different place. That was so magical and so powerful. And as Sean said, your depth of listening was astounding. And it's all about creating that emotional rapport and talking heart to heart. And you just did that masterfully. And thank you. That was such a teaching. And Gina, I was crying. So your story is amazing. And Larry gave you a 9.7.
Thank you very much.
And what did you have for Joe? Thank you, Ruth.
Yeah. Joe, thank you so much for being here. Your excitement is catching, and your ability, we talk about talking heart to heart. I've never met anyone who could be in their heart and their head at the same time. And that was freaking masterful. However, I would say, as a window into, I know that you have a lot to share, but you have to open someone's listening before they can even hear your message. And Sir Richard Branson or a homeless person on the street has a wall up until you breach it. And the fact that he opened your email and you had that call, I loved that you opened it via acknowledgments. And I think that only goes so far. And so what I would say is figure out a way to come in and have that heart open and really just, how are you doing? It's COVID.
And your score, Ruth?
My score is 8.3.
Nice. Thank you for that. Doc, what do you have? And we're not talking about rating people's facial deformities. We're talking about rating their influence mastery right now.
Sure.
I'm teasing. So.
Sure. First of all, Gina, thank you so much for making yourself vulnerable. As a parent of having 3 children, I admire you for your resilience and what you've been through and how you have shared, your what you have learned with regards to gratitude. So thank you for that. I think Larry did a masterful job in terms of being able to connect heart to heart with Gina. I think I appreciated the fact that Larry really opened up by trying to allow Gina to really be able to speak about herself and her experience. I appreciate how Larry was really created a space for that and to try to get Gina's trust and to be able to connect to her heart to heart. So I think Larry just did an amazing job of being able to open that space. I would give him a 9.5.
Nice.
With regards to Joe, I appreciated how Joe had so much energy. I appreciated how he started out by really connecting with Branson by talking about what Joe liked about him and his experience of seeing him on television, what he's done for his daughter. I do think Joe did an amazing job. I think it would have been good to be able to start the conversation initially by trying to really maybe allow Branson to speak a little bit more, to try to create a bit of more of a connection. I know it's hard in 3 minutes when you have Branson on the phone, but I think it would have been good to really maybe try to allow Branson to try to create more of a heart-to-heart connection. And I would give Joe a 9.
Beautiful feedback, Doc. Thank you. Henry, what do you have for Larry, please?
Well, Sean, I thought Larry really did an exceptional job. He asked 3 questions, and he totally was able to open Gina and have it feel connected.
Mm.
And those questions were, can you tell me about that? What do you want to share with others? And what are your suggestions? Those were the 3 questions. He also, in a very masterful way, was able to insert empathy after the first question. He just jumped right in and connected just by simply showing his own personal connection to Gina's story. He didn't get to the yes. That was the one thing I'm thinking in terms of pragmatic approach, where we supposed to go from hello to yes, and
Well, Henry,
that was missing.
Henry, that's remember they have 6 minutes. So that's round 2. So we weren't trying to get to the yes yet in round 1. Just a quick.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. But I would say Larry was as good as anyone, and we are all trying to learn from this. Obviously, this is a learning process for all of us, and Larry did a really masterpiece of utilizing the 3 minutes to a max. So I would give him 9.5.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
And what I liked about Joe was full of passion, and he was extremely knowledgeable. So he wanted to fill that space with his passion and knowledge, and he did it. And what I would like to see is for Joe to be able to open up a conversation rather than continue a monologue. The monologue lasted for about 2.5 minutes. So I think that there is a portion of that conversation that could have been a monologue, but at some point, there's got to be some questions that open up Sir Richard's perspective on things. The fact that somebody open up his email is great, and there's a window of opportunity, but now how do you open up a relationship to the next level? And I think Joe could do a better job by asking questions and getting Sir Richards to respond to him and engage with him.
And your score?
I would give him 8.
Nice. Excellent work. So Joe, Larry, fantastic jobs. Thank you so much, Henry, Dr. Stodd, and Ruth for such an awesome job round 1. And Gina, thank you for your courage and heart. You ready for round 2, my friend?
I am ready.
Okay. Larry, we're going to reverse order this round, and Gina's back from her call. Are you ready, sir?
I am ready. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, please continue.
Oh, Gina, thanks for coming back. I appreciate you doing that. I hope that call was from a publisher who's about to up your pre-publishing payment. So regardless, I just was so fascinated by what you said, because I too think that there's an enormous commonality that humans really don't appreciate, nor do they recognize in terms of how they can work together better. And I have been around the world of mediation and law for all of my career. I started as a trial lawyer, and I realized along the way that trial is fun. I can tell stories about being in trial that were just exhilarating, but my clients walked away even when they won, thinking the experience wasn't something they would have signed up for. I don't know, have you had dealings with having to utilize a lawyer over time?
Oh, yes. Unfortunately, my marriage turned very dark and painful, and a very high conflict where about 4 years ago, and still even last year I had to deal with some more of it, but 4 years ago I was divorced, and yes, that was my first dealing with lawyers, and it was not fun.
Well, I can see in the wake of what you've just said how traumatizing that would be. How about in business? As you work your way through the world of publishing, have you had occasion to get legal counsel?
Thank you. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm at the been writing the book a little bit slowly, but getting there. It's at the tail end. My editor is finishing it up, and we haven't gotten to the publishing part yet. Working on that kind of in the next step. So I haven't gotten there, but thank you. Do you have thoughts on that?
Well, I do actually. And it's not that I'm trying to sell you my services at all, because what I have come to in my world is to help clients who have dealings with lawyers understand that there are collaborative ways to work together that are much more in the client's self-interest than in the lawyer's self-interest. And I'm convinced that that's what makes a great lawyer even greater and creates financial well-being. And so I would love to just chat with you at some point after this, maybe after we get to our destination or thereafter, if your schedule permits, to talk about how you as a client can have a better relationship with your lawyers and choose lawyers on the basis of that relationship and the mutual value thereof, and then create a really good working relationship. Could we make that arrangement at some point?
Yes, we can. And I wish I met you like a year ago or 4 years ago. Yes, thank you so much. Absolutely.
So
thank you,
Larry. Thank you. And we have fun here. We acknowledge people in beautiful ways. We are north of 400 episodes of our Real Raws and Real Raw Opens. It's sort of like TED and TEDx. I've hosted over 250 Real Raws already. And I will tell you, sir, with all my heart, and we've had some of the most famous speakers in the world, TV accountants, TV attorneys, all sorts of folks. That is unquestionably some of the deepest, what we refer to as level 5 listening, where there's energy transferred through your listening. And I understand your background, you know, things about you at some level, but truly, I am not sure if you're present to how uniquely talented you are. And I have the privilege of having disrupted jury verdict processes and worked with psychologists and sold from stages in front of thousands. And I have an incredibly diverse background in the space of influence. I just want to really acknowledge you from my heart to yours on how talented you are. That was masterful. And I can't even imagine the work you've put in during your life to become present to people the way you are. And it's an honor to have watched that or experienced that.
That's quite an honor to hear, Sean. I deeply appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Great job. We are ready for round 2, Joe. And sir, your energy is present and awesome. Gina is back. So Joe, please take us in.
So Richard, I did a lot of talking about me. I wonder if I can, I have to admit that I'm a little intimidated talking to you. I've had you in, high esteem for so long, but I'd love to know what's going on in your world. I see stuff on TV and blah, blah, blah. How's the COVID affecting you? How's the business climate, or, how's it affecting you personally, actually, is what I'd really be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that. And I'll just take a minute and share that. There's been some people in the family that, of course, have had it, and it certainly has affected my, the airline business, and that is definitely highly affected more than anything. I also have my beautiful island that we have a lot of things we have to do differently because of COVID. So certainly, just like everyone, it has affected me in ways, though, that I also learn through and pivot and make different choices. Thank you for asking that, Joe.
Well, thanks for sharing. I just want to go back to make sure that I had my facts right. So I think I saw you running in a marathon lately, and I kind of assume, in listening to some of the stuff, that you are into the holistic health field. And so I wonder, with some of the things that I told you about this unbelievable product that we have, that we want to make sure lasts for society, I was wondering if you feel that your mission aligned with what I'm talking about, the health and wellness of the world in a lot of ways.
Well, that is certainly important to me. I do take a holistic approach as much as I can. Thankfully, I've got connections all over the world that can bring the best of the best to me, or, that I have access to the best of the best. And I'm very grateful for that privilege. And, sure, some of it sounds aligned. I mean, I'm not sure how it would be, different from some of the other work that I'm already doing in the world, but you're welcome to. I got another minute. I'm happy to have you share.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I would love to do is set up an appointment with you, either on Zoom or how we could get together. It'd be up to you. It wouldn't matter to me. I'll make it 24/7, 7 days a week. I would show up. I just think that it's such an important product, and we're looking for that right partner that would just understand. So what I'd love to do is take you through some of the visions that we have into the future, some of the ways that we're trying to educate the world, bring the world together, bring doctors and practitioners along with education and verified information to the individual so that they can make better choices. We absolutely need someone of influence, and you've always come to first. So tell me, please, how can I get on your schedule?
Okay, well, thank you for that. I'll have Mary connect with you after this call, and we can set something up pretty quickly here.
Thank you so
Does
much.
that sound good?
Thank you so much. That's all I could ask for. I appreciate your time.
Okay, sure thing. Thank you.
Joe, great job. Guys, I just got an update. So I would feel odd continuing. And I don't want to dramatize what's occurring, but I certainly don't want to minimize it. Apparently, the Capitol building has just been evacuated.
No.
Because protesters are there. Somebody's been shot. The National Guard is on the way, but there are protesters inside the Capitol building, and the Capitol has been evacuated. So I would feel completely inappropriate continuing right now until we have a better optic on that. I am immensely grateful for you guys being here. This is the first time I've ever done this, but I just got that call. So thank you for being here. I'd love to continue and have everybody come back. Larry, Joe, fantastic job. Doc, Ruth, Henry, thank you. Vivian, thank you. But hopefully you would understand. I would just feel odd knowing this if we didn't halt and give everybody a chance to connect and think about what's become present to what's occurring.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I totally understand.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for your presence and how you were here today and very made a big impact. So thank you. And Hope to see you again soon.
Gina,
Thank you, Gina.
beautiful job.
Thank you,
We'll
Sean.
talk to you guys. Thank you.